If there's one thing you can say about Drew Goddard, the man likes to put a lot of meta in his movies. Hello friends, this is Adam with MovieGuy365. If you could take a moment, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos daily. And today I'm going to talk about my review of Bad Times at the El Royale, directed by Drew Goddard, who you might know through Cabin in the Woods. Is one of my, it's a great movie. I love that movie. As well as the showrunner for the first season of Daredevil on Netflix. And he's also comes from, the Whedon camp over at the Buffy the Vampire Slayer Angel section. So the man has some talent. He's got some good writing. I feel like, to just give you a frame of reference for how I'm going to go over my review, just to give you a little background on the man. So he has all those writing credits to him, and his directorial has not been as successful, but as I said, Cabin in the Woods, definitely a good film. And I'm going to compare Bad Times at the El Royale a little bit to that because they do have a similar theme, but which I will explain. I'm really going to try to avoid spoilers, so please, I'm not going to put any spoilers in there, but I'm going to talk generally about what I felt about the movie. So to start with, I feel like it was a little step down from Cabin in the Woods, but I believe there's a reason for that. The subject matter obviously is different. So, Cabin in the Woods, you have that horror take and everything that happens after that. I'm also not going to spoil that movie, but this one, I feel it was a little self-indulgent, running in the middle. It definitely could use about 20-25 minutes. The movie runs a good 2 hours and 21 minutes. So if you would have clipped that 21 minutes, you'd have had a good, tight story. Like, it really would have worked. Is there anything I didn't really like about the movie? Not necessarily. I guess going to the trailer. Let's examine the trailer for a minute. I think the trailer sold me on something, and I don't feel it really paid off in the finished product. While not necessarily a bad thing, I was a little disappointed in that aspect because if you go back and examine the trailer, it kind of leads you like there's a little. I will say this. I don't think it's really a spoiler, but there was almost like a greater force behind what was happening in this movie. That's not really a thing. It doesn't really happen. It's a straightforward story. Now, I've also heard more than a few reviewers say that this is Goddard's attempt at a Tarantino film. I didn't pick that up at all. I honestly didn't. I have seen everything that Quentin Tarantino has done multiple times. I'm well versed in his films, and I don't really get much. I mean, maybe like 1% DNA of that in there, but you could say that with any kind of film. It's not really something that I feel that should have been even mentioned in a review. So I'm going to go ahead and dismiss that altogether. I don't feel like Goddard was trying to be Tarantino. I didn't see that at all. Now, he puts together my favorite part of this movie is the cast. There is a great cast in this film. It's a good ensemble. Everybody has something to do. Everybody has a moment to shine. Even the smaller characters that you think aren't going to really mean anything actually do later on in the story. Also, I feel like that 20 minutes that needs to come off, there's a scene in the climax that I would say 5 to 10 should definitely come from that. It dragged entirely too long. It just seemed to go forever. But I don't know. I liked the movie, but for somebody that it doesn't want to sit through a 2 hour plus hour movie, you're gonna be checking your watch. I don't know. It just for me, I was starting to get a little antsy, especially in the climax. I guess the climax at the end of the day wasn't the best. I think you've got a movie that I say 90% of it works, but 10% of that is some of that 10% is a climax, and it just didn't for me. I guess we needed a little more background on certain characters and situations in order for that to actually have a meaning to it. Because you have what happens with one of the characters who you don't see for a good portion of the movie, and then all of a sudden you're supposed to care about it. And while they do attempt at a background of sorts for that, there wasn't enough there to fuel and give meaning to what happens in the climax of the film. Overall, Bad Times at the El Royale is a good time if you know what to go in expecting. If you're thinking this is going to be another Cabin in the Woods, it's not necessarily. Now, I had heard early on that there were connections between these movies. Like, do they take place in the same universe? I would say they don't deny or confirm, but I don't think it should be a thing. It's not. I don't feel like they did. Now, there's a similar theme that, and I said that in my intro. Drew Goddard likes to get a little meta with his message. And that really comes across, once again, in the climax. And whether you agree with it or not, it's there. But I don't feel it was as strong as it was in Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods was like, here's a situation, now we're elevating it to a different level. Hey, see what we did? Oh, that's kind of clever. That's really neat. I think on a smaller scale, it was being attempted here. I just don't feel it really landed. They try to introduce a few concepts that I don't think, and the audience overall is not really going to care about. But I would say that most of the movie for me worked. I wish I would have gotten the movie that was in the trailer. I think I was in love with that trailer, and then I carried that over and was, I guess, in a small way, a little disappointed in the finished product. Now, it's something I would like to own. I'm going to own this. I'm going to buy it. I think it's going to be a decent to rewatch and maybe catch a few things. I don't think it's going to blow anybody's mind, but it's still, I would say, like I said, 90% of it's a decent flick. And for most people, that's good. You go to movies like Venom, where 15% of it's decent, then the rest of your movie's garbage. I think that's a problem. But given the nature of the audiences today and whatnot and the character, this one is probably not going to do phenomenal in the box office. I could see it having a life in streaming or on disc. I think it definitely could have a second life. Drew Goddard does actually have a fan base. He does some good writing. The writing is really good. I will say that. Gets muddled in the climax, as I mentioned numerous times. But yeah, it's a decent enough film. So, everybody brings their A game. I think the acting is so good. It's, you have Cynthia Erivo, who is our main female protagonist. She's so good. Amazing voice, if that's her voice. Jeff Bridges also brings it, and, even smaller characters like Dakota Johnson and, Chris Hemsworth's in it and John Hamm. I wish I would have gotten a little bit more with John Hamm. He had a great arc, and I think they kind of fumbled towards the end about that, but it's a decent film, guys. I would recommend it. Catch it on a $5 Tuesday kind of thing. I don't know, but it's okay. It's if you're a fan of Drew Goddard and what he's done, I don't think you're going to be terribly disappointed. Me personally, I would give this, out of a rating, I would give this probably a B-. I think it definitely could have used a trim, 20 minutes. But yeah, overall, it's worth your time. It's worth your time to support movies like this anyway, because they're not going to do phenomenal numbers in the box office. So if you get a chance, go see it. Yeah, so that's pretty much going to do it. That's my review of Bad Times at the El Royale. Please leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit that notification button, subscribe, share with your friends, tell everybody about the channel. Hey, I do everything here. So until next time, this is Adam with MovieGuy365. I will see you at the movies.